You've seen them online, right? These DIY solar battery builds that look just incredibly cheap. And let's be honest, it's because they're almost always too good to be true. So today, we are going to uncover all those hidden costs and, more importantly, the critical safety parts that those budget videos just happen to leave out. Let's get into it. This is the one you always see, a massive, powerful battery for maybe a few $100. I mean, that's the hook, isn't it? They'll show you a big pile of shiny battery cells, a simple little circuit board, and a price tag that feels impossible to pass up. But really, this isn't just an incomplete picture. It's a dangerously misleading one. So, what's missing from that picture? What are they not showing you? What parts, what tools, and what safety systems are conveniently left out of that super low price? Well, that's exactly what we're here to figure out. Because what's hidden in the fine print is often the difference between a project that works and one that, well, goes up in smoke. Now, before we even start talking about money, we have to understand this one basic truth. When you build a battery, you're not just storing energy, you're actively managing these three forces: current, heat, and risk. It's like a triangle. A lot of current creates a lot of heat. And unmanaged heat, well, that creates a ton of risk. Every single component we're about to talk about is designed specifically to keep this triangle in a safe, stable balance. Okay, so let's pull back the curtain on that infamous $300 battery myth. We're going to walk through, piece by piece, all the essential parts of a real safe build that are almost always left out of those budget breakdowns you see online. First up on our list, the tools. And listen, these are not optional, nice-to-have things. They are absolutely 100% required if you want to build a system that's both reliable and, safe. A bad electrical connection isn't just inefficient, it actually becomes a little heater, a concentrated source of heat just waiting to cause problems. We're talking about real tools for a real job. Things like hydraulic crimpers to make sure your cable lugs get that perfect, solid connection. A torque wrench, because, believe me, loose battery terminals are a major fire hazard from arcing. You need proper insulation materials, like heat shrink. And of course, a good multimeter to double-check everything as you go. These tools, they are your first line of defense against disaster. Next, let's talk about the wires. It's so easy to think of them as just simple connectors, but they're so much more than that. Wires are the highways for your electricity, and if you try to squeeze a ton of traffic down a tiny little road, well, you get a massive traffic jam. And in electricity, that traffic jam is called heat. Using wires that are way too thin for the amount of current your system is going to draw is such a classic and dangerous mistake. It causes voltage drop, which basically starves your inverter of the power it needs. It wastes a ton of your precious energy as heat. And worst of all, it can cause the wires to get so hot they actually melt the insulation. And that is a huge fire risk. Okay, next up are what I call the non-negotiable safety layers of your system. Every single battery, I don't care how big or small, needs protection. This is absolutely not the place to try and save a few bucks. So, at the bare minimum, you need three things. First, a main fuse, and it has to be as close to the battery as physically possible. This is your emergency brake in case of a dead short. Second, you need a breaker or a disconnect switch so you can safely turn the whole system off for maintenance. And third, proper bus bars. And those are just solid metal bars to distribute all that high current cleanly and safely. And finally, let's talk about the battery management system, or the BMS. So many of these so-called budget build guides treat the BMS like it's some magic box that's going to solve all your problems. Well, I'm here to tell you it won't. It's an essential part of the system, for sure, but it has very real, very important limits. See, a BMS is rated for a certain maximum amount of current. If your system tries to pull more than that, poof, it shuts everything down. It can only balance the cells so fast, and it has really strict temperature limits. So what this all means is that you have to design your entire system to work within the limits of the BMS. The BMS is a supervisor, not a superhero. So we've seen the hidden costs, right? Now let's take a quick look at the science behind why they matter so much. This is where we really connect the dots between all three of those things we talked about: current, heat, and risk. Now, don't let the formula on this slide scare you. All you need to focus on is that little squared symbol. It basically says that the heat generated in a wire goes up with the square of the current. And what that means is the relationship between current and heat isn't a straight line. It's an exponential curve that goes up really, really fast. And this chart just shows you exactly what that looks like in practice. It's pretty shocking. If you just double the amount of current running through a wire, you don't get double the heat. Oh no, you get 4 times the heat. A small, innocent little increase in how much power you're using can lead to a huge, and I mean huge, and potentially dangerous spike in temperature. This is exactly why undersized wiring is such a common failure point. So here it is, the whole story, side by side. On the left, you've got the myth, just a bunch of cells and a cheap BMS. And on the right, you have the reality, a quality BMS, all the fuses and breakers, the right-sized wiring, the connectors, the proper tools, and even a secure way to mount everything. The difference is just, it's night and day. And it's the difference between a fun little hobby project and a truly reliable, safe power system. Okay, so we've totally busted the myth. Now let's talk solutions. How do you actually plan a build the right way from the very beginning to avoid all these traps? Well, here is your path forward. Think of this as your reality checklist. First, you have to calculate your actual power needs. What are you going to run? Then you figure out the current that load is going to draw. From there, and only then, you can size your wires, select your fuses, and pick a BMS that can handle it all. And last but not least, you budget for everything, the tools, the connectors, all of it. This is how you design a system for success right from the start. All right, as we start to wrap this up, I want to leave you with 3 simple foundational rules. Seriously, if you don't remember anything else from this whole explainer, remember these. They are the absolute bedrock of a safe power system. Rule number 1, and it is the most important one. Absolutely never, ever, under any circumstances, connect a battery to anything without a fuse in between. It is your single most important protection against a catastrophic failure, period. Rule number 2, a weak connection is a hot connection. Never trust a connection that wasn't made with the right tool and the right technique. Your entire system is only as strong as its weakest, tiniest link. And rule number 3, your BMS is a manager. It's not a miracle worker. It cannot fix undersized wires or make up for missing fuses. A truly safe system is designed to be safe from the ground up. The BMS is just one important part of that bigger design. You know, it really all just comes down to this. When you are dealing with this much stored energy, safety isn't an add-on. It's not something you can sprinkle on at the end. It has to be designed and built in from the very first decision you make. It is never, ever optional. So the next time you see one of those super cheap budget builds online, just ask yourself this. What's the real cost of skipping the fuses, using the wrong tools, and skimping on the right wiring? Because when safety itself becomes just another line item you can cut, the true cost is always going to be way too high.